maybe his dragon did the same thing.
And you're laughing, but I was horrified.
Touch him and die, because I feel like there was a lot of that in this book.
Just be obsessed with each other, you weirdos, and just go do it in the mountains like a normal person.
Gets me every time, man. It just gets me every time. Welcome to the Besties in the Books podcast, guys. I'm Liz.
And I'm Ashley, and today we're doing our official deep dive on the Ballad of Falling Dragons by Sarah A. Parker.
So
oh my
excited.
goodness. I hope you guys finished reading this book if you're watching this. You know, if not, you can save it to your playlist and watch later, because we're going to be diving into book 2, highly anticipated read. Oh my gosh, I've been looking so forward to this and to talk to you guys all about it.
Didn't disappoint. Didn't disappoint even a little tiny bit. Nope.
Yeah. Just a little sneak peek of our opinions. So this is part of her Moonfall series. As of right now, it's considered a trilogy. But who knows? Sometimes they say that and then it's just not enough pages, you know, and they need to do more. And I'm happy to take any books that she wants to bring us. So,
yeah, literally.
Well,
Although I will say, for any of you guys who haven't read it, I know a lot of you have, she does have her To Bleed a Crystal Bloom series that we still haven't read. That's a Rapunzel retelling. And I feel like perhaps that needs to, while we're waiting for this book 3 that we don't have a date for at all, maybe we could dive into that someday.
Yeah, and they've officially all been re-released, and she got picked up into Trad Publishing.
I know.
And the copies are really pretty too.
I have the indie copies that I found years ago, but yes,
Yeah.
I have been seeing the new paperbacks at Target, and I'm like, ooh, those are cute.
I always buy the indies because I'm worried that Trad won't do it as good, and it's still good.
Yeah.
It's still good. So, so in case you missed it, we did do a recap and a deep dive on book 1, When the Moon Hatched. So we'll have that link down below, of course. And we go over major plot points. We go over characters, lore for that book. And of course, we'll be doing some more of that today. A little bit of a continuation on. So if you're watching this at a later date in preparation of book 3, hopefully it's helpful for that as like a refresher and a recap too.
Yep. Hopefully, because we'll also be using it.
Yeah, we will too. Yeah. We're doing this for us. No, and for you.
It's our own personal diary.
It's and both situation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It'll be the true test. You know, that's what I was thinking, actually, when I was thinking about preparing for ACOTAR 6. I was like, okay, I'm going to go back through our ACOTAR series, and hopefully that helps me prepare. Yes. So anyway, today's episode will be spoiler-free for the first 15 minutes or so. We will do a little faves and fails of the week for you guys. We'll give you our spoiler-free star and spice rating and who we'd recommend this book to. And then we'll get into all of what Ashley was just talking about as far as lore, Easter eggs, but also, do we have any predictions? You know, like what questions do we have going into the next book? All that kind of good stuff. So before we get into that, we just want to say thank you so much for being here.
Seriously, thank you so much for taking time out of your day and your book to come and hang out with us and hear our little recap and some of our least favorite parts of this book. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe anywhere you like to listen to your favorite podcasts, including YouTube. We are Besties and the Books podcast everywhere, Instagram and TikTok as well. And if at any point you're watching these as like a recap, or you're looking for some certain specific information in any of these books that we cover, we always put chapter markers in our episodes, whether that be on podcasts or on YouTube. So if you're looking for just character refreshers, you can scroll and move your little, whatever that thing is called, the little scroller at the bottom of the screen, I don't know, to that part, or you can click on there's like a link down in YouTube, you can click the different timestamps. That'll tell you exactly those parts. So, you know, if you're here to stay for the vibes and want to hear about our faves and fails, we love it so much. But if you're just here for certain little parts, we get it too. Because there's lots of books to be read. We get it, man. We get it. Yeah. I got a lot that I got to read too.
Literally, yeah.
We're finally pretty much caught up, I think.
Yeah.
Now. Yeah, I think so. I think we're ready. We're mid-June and we're ready to get into June book club. So that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I already started June book club. If you guys aren't following along, it is Jurassic Park and it is so good. It's a lot more Yes,
I'm so excited.
Totally. It's a lot more horror sci-fi than I thought it would be, and I'm really enjoying it. So
it's like sci-fi summer over here. Yeah, with Red Rising coming up soon on our deep dives of that series. Like, I'm watching all the sci-fi movies I can. It's like, it's a vibe. Didn't see it coming. Didn't see Jurassic Park coming, and didn't see sci-fi summer coming. But here we are.
Here we are.
I'm excited.
I'm fully leaning into it as well. I'm loving it.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, all right, Ash, what was your fave and fail of this week?
Well, I had some written down, but now I apparently have to tell this story. So my fail would probably be listen, hear me out. I know not everybody likes to hear about people's dreams, but Liz said I had to say this one because she's like, stop, this is so weird. Okay, so I'm going to tell you my nightmare that I had this morning. Because it was one of those that, like, you can't get out of the nightmare, but, like, you also can't shake it. So it took me a while to get up because I was just, like, in and, like, half awake. It's just, like, weirding me out. So a tiny setup so I don't lose you guys. I'm in the car with my doctor, and I just had made his girlfriend an engagement ring basket. And he wanted me to include the receipt in there, so that was weird. So I had to handwrite a receipt because I accidentally threw the receipt away. It was really chaotic. So I get to my daughter's bathroom for some reason, and I feel like I need to look inside my throat. And I look in the back of my throat, and there's a tiny spoon lodged and, like, carved into the back of my throat. And so I call my mom, who's a nurse, and she's like, yeah, oh no, like, this is really bad, Ash.
Not
this
the tiny spoon in the
not the tiny. It had a, like, scientific name for it and everything. I can't remember what it is. It's not just tiny spoon syndrome, but, like,
oh my God. I thought, okay, the reason why I cut Ashley off there when she was trying to tell me this earlier, I was like, you have to say it on the podcast, was because I was expecting some, like, insane body horror, which, I mean, obviously finding a tiny spoon in your throat would be body horror for sure. But
it was graphic, Liz. It was very graphic.
Like, oh, I looked in my throat and there was some flesh-eating disease or, like, something like that, and we just got the tiny spoon. And now I'm just going to think about that forever.
Yeah, I was really freaked out and I didn't know what to do. And I was like, listen, you look in your throat and expect to see, like, some spots and stuff, but it was a tiny spoon. And I was like, I wasn't panicked enough for, like, being the airway that brings air into my lungs, but, like, I was definitely freaked out, and I kept looking at it. And then they were like, you just take these, like, you know, like Dayquil liquid or something. And I'm like, that doesn't seem like it's gonna do it, guys. And, like, I felt like I was being medically gaslit by the, you know, urgent care line. And then not only did I have the tiny spoon wedged up in there, it started, like, bending like the Matrix spoon. And I'm like, I should feel this a lot more than I do. It's really freaking me out.
It's defying
so
gravity.
I don't know if anybody is, like, a dream, what is it, an analyzer out there?
Ooh, yeah.
What does that mean? Tiny spoons in dreams? Tiny spoons lodged into bodies? What does that mean? It was, and you're laughing, but I was horrified.
Well, it's
it
funny,
was like
actually,
comedy horror, because it's like, this is, and I knew it was a dream, but, like, I was still super, like, freaked out, you know?
Yeah.
Like, this is so stupid, but, like, also get it out. Like, go in there. And I was tempted, but, like, you got the uvula in the way, so I didn't want to, like, damage anything.
Well, yeah, that's like, where the horror would have come in. If this was, like, a movie, would have been the getting it out somehow. Maybe yourself.
What,
you know what I mean?
saw in my dream is, like, what I would imagine a horror movie, like, doing something like that, for sure. Like, it was very graphic. So.
Yeah. What did the spoon look like? Was it just a basic little silver spoon?
It's a tiny little silver spoon.
Interesting.
Lodged. And it was, like, carved in. It was like, I don't think I got enough meat back there, but okay. And then the way it bent down, I'm like, it's getting worse, guys.
Yeah.
I should not be, talking.
Yeah.
Swallowing. I must have been, like, swallowing in my sleep, too. And I'm like, it's fine, though. I don't know, guys. Seems like an emergency surgery or something. And they said it's just contagious and it just happens. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
Like, you can pass the spoon to another.
So what does it mean,
Is it a new spoon, or does the spoon disappear from you and then appear in someone else's throat?
Exactly.
You're actually reminding me, I had a nightmare recently also that I had forgotten about until just now that I will share because it's also silly.
You're welcome.
Very comedy horror. So my sister, who had worked at a very popular chain restaurant, we'll just say that, for a long time, once had to clean out their fountain soda machine, and it was full of snails.
Snails? Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, this was a dream. I forgot.
No. I'm not to the dream. No, I'm not to the dream part yet.
What? That's disgusting.
This is real. This is still, we're in real life right now. Yeah. Okay. So my sister tells me this story,
That's not the nightmare? That's not the nightmare, but it's real life.
So she tells me this story, and she's told it to me before, but for some reason it came up in conversation somewhat recently. So I literally have been researching.
I'm so glad I don't drink soda. Sorry about that you do.
Yeah, I do, for sure. Well,
you're like, ooh, that's how they get it crispy. Little salty snail.
Imagine. Oh no, poor little critter.
Like, I'm a vegan, damn it.
I know. Well, technically, I don't know that I don't think they were dead. I think they were alive, so I don't know if they were harmed in the process. But anyways, yeah. So I've been researching.
It's getting filtered by snails, but I guess they weren't harmed.
Yeah, they just.
Anyways, yeah.
Technically, it's still vegan. I don't know, but yeah, no. So I was researching getting my own fountain for my house.
Yeah. But this was the dream still?
No. So now we're in real life. Okay.
Okay.
And I was researching getting just like a Diet Coke fountain or possibly a Diet Coke, Diet Dr. Pepper fountain, whatever, just for my house. Those things are really expensive, by the way, just even for two of them, right? Well, I had a dream. My dream was that I did that. I bought it for my house. I brought it home, and then I went to clean it, and it was full of snail.
Like, new horror unlocked, you guys. So sorry about both of these. But, like, the snail thing is real.
Yeah.
That's disgusting.
How does that even happen? I don't know. She didn't know either. She has no idea. Yeah. But yeah, so apparently I told her, I was like, great, you told me that story, and now it's haunting me, and now all of you know, and it will haunt you, so you're welcome.
Apparently, check your soda fountains for snails. If you work at a restaurant, please do us all a favor.
Dear Lord.
Make sure. And check your throats for spoons.
Yeah,
so
just in case.
Come to this podcast for learning.
Bonus horror content. You said you wanted more horror. You're welcome.
There you go. All right, my fave of the week, though. The problem with these dreams like that, though, is, like, I feel like it's in my throat. Like, I haven't been able to shake it. Mm-hmm. So if I'm excessively drinking water this episode, so sorry. Mm-hmm. It's because I got a spoon back there. Okay, my fave of the week, though, is, like... Movies are officially back, baby.
Oh, yeah.
They're back. The movie theaters are popping. They're locking. They're doing their thing. It's awesome. So I've been seeing a lot of movies lately. And last minute, we saw Disclosure Day. So another sci-fi movie.
Wait, who's in that one? Is that Emily
That's
Blunt?
the Steven Spielberg. I don't know why I said it like that. Spielberg. Steven Spielberg movie with Emily Blunt.
Yeah.
And then some other, like... there's some other newer actors, and then also what's his name? The guy from the movies.
The guy from the movies, for sure.
I just got Pride and Prejudice. What's his name?
Oh,
pretty sure that's him.
Colin Firth.
Yeah, Colin Firth.
Oh, okay.
Let me fact check myself. Hang on. He had a really big like beard situation going on, so he could have fooled me. Yeah, it's him. Yeah, it's Colin Firth. Cool. Very beardy, very mustachy. So anyways, so we saw that. And it was good. I enjoyed it. It was a very emotional movie.
Not too scary,
Wasn't expecting that. No. Wasn't scary.
Cool.
Wasn't scary. Well, you have a thing with aliens, so...
Yeah. Yeah, but it depends. It very, very much depends. Like, I've moved on past most of that. Like, it has to be really specific. Like, yeah, so it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, I can... It's not really so much a part. It's not spoilery because I think everybody knows that there's aliens involved in the movie. Yeah. But yeah, let me know if you need more information on that because it's not scary. Okay. It's just like there's a lot of like I don't know. It's just emotional. There's like a full-on panic attack in the movie, and it was just really like incredible to see such accurate representation on the screen, and you feel like you're in it with her. It was really crazy. So I was not expecting to like cry a couple times from it. So yeah, I don't know. Steven Spielberg just does such an incredible job, you know, with his cinematography and everything. So it was just interesting. It's just, it's a thought piece. It's a thought piece for sure. A lot of people aren't liking it because of the ending, but I'm like, it's kind of meant to leave you thinking.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very like old school Steven Spielberg, but new, you know, and improved technology.
Yeah, and tech. Cool. Awesome.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it felt like he's always a alien apologist, so I don't know if it's a new idea. But hey.
Well, I feel like, you know, I grew out of my like E.T. I was very scared of E.T. as a kid. I feel like once I like grew out of that to kind of see that like, you know, quote unquote aliens like out in space could actually be really cool also, or like really nice, or I mean obviously we're all coming off of Project Hail Mary as well, which I think like represented that concept really well. It's like I just, as a kid, I think once I kind of got over that hump, it made me a lot less afraid of aliens, but sometimes they can still look really scary. So that's all I really...
Yeah, I don't think it's anything we haven't seen before. As far as looks go, it's not like an alien predator situation. I'll put it this way. My 10-year-old, I'm going to have her watch it when it comes to, you know, things, because it wasn't scary. It was more about like the journey and like things like that. So
cool.
Yeah.
Any other good movies that you've seen lately? Now I'm curious.
I saw Devil Wears Prada 2. That was great. Did you still not see that yet? You saw?
No, I haven't been to the movies in a while, and honestly, I'm kind of like a little mad at our movie theater because it still says coming soon to Obsession. So I still haven't seen Obsession.
That's crazy.
And me and my husband have been wanting to go see Masters of the Universe, speaking of sci-fi stuff, and they only play it like a few times a day, and none of the times work for us. So it's been out now for like 2 weeks, and we still haven't been able to go. So I feel like my local movie theater situation has been kind of letting us down lately.
Oh, dang. That sucks.
But I have been on an old movie kick.
Yes.
Yes. So that's what I've been doing lately, and it's been helping my brain a lot because things have been quite stressful in the work arena as of late. So my husband put on Labyrinth the other night, so we ended up watching that, which was great. He did that on his own behalf. I did not even ask, which was awesome.
Yeah.
We also watched The Swan Princess.
Oh, the animated or is there a live action one?
I don't know if there's a live action one, but it was the animated. Yeah. Okay, and that I hadn't seen since I was a kid, and it was great. Yeah. So fully enjoyed that. And then last night we watched Pretty Woman, which I hadn't seen in like literally probably since like high school. And what a delight that was as well. I love it so much. So yeah, I've been in kind of like the old movie times right now. I would like to see some of these new movies, but apparently that's just not in the cards right now. I don't know. But I do like that there's a lot of good movies coming out lately, though. But yes, I do also need to see The Devil Wears Prada. I want to see Backrooms, too.
Yeah, I do, too. You wouldn't think I do, but I've always been really fascinated by that concept.
Well, it's funny because I just went to one of our clients open up a new gym in town. Go check out Liberty Fitness if you guys are local. And it's so funny because they have a new spot in Old Town, and she's like giving us the tour, and it was totally like that. It's like you go into the front room, and it's like the Pilates room, and then you go through a door, and it's the weight room. Then you go through another door, and it's the other weight room. Then you go through another door, and there's like a back loading area, and then I was like, "Ooh, this is crazy." It wasn't creepy at all. It was just like this place just keeps going forever. But yeah, so I definitely want to see that, and I feel like there's probably some other things that I'm forgetting now too. But yeah, it's fun to see it coming back. I love it.
Yeah, it's good.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
All right, so should we just wait?
Was that your fave?
Yeah, I mean,
you haven't done yours yet, so
I feel like that's good. That's good. I was gonna say two things. I was gonna say watching the old movies lately. That was super fun. But then also I do want to give a shout out, honorable mention to my pizza making husband, who has officially, literally can now make a pizza better than anyone in town. Ooh. So hey. But he decided to venture into dessert pizza making starting last night and made me our first s'mores pizza. And it was so good for the first try. So I cannot wait to see what happens. Yeah. As we perfect the recipe. But it was literally so good. So yeah, that was definitely my fave for sure.
Nice.
Watching
Any
Pretty
fails?
Woman and eating s'mores pizza. Yeah. Well, I did talk about the snail dream. That was definitely a fail. I don't know that I really have any other ones like from this week, so we'll just keep it there.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Good.
So, all right. The Ballad of Falling Dragons, Ashley. How many stars did that get from you?
Oh, yeah. 5 stars. What a surprise. Not. So here's what I have to say about it in a non-spoiler way.
All right.
A solid continuation and an emotional roller coaster from book 1 into book 2, where we find out more about this immersive world and get questions answered that we were left open from when the moon hatched, while setting us up for a whole lot more in book 3.
Yeah.
Beautifully done, Sarah.
Yep. I agree. 5-star. Hands down. I knew it'd be a 5-star going right into it right away. I feel like as a middle book, as people like to say, you know, assuming that it stops at book 3, it's a trilogy, but either way, it'd be a middle book. I think that it just did it perfectly. Exactly what you're saying. It's like, I feel like it answered enough of the questions, and it did so in a really interesting way, which we'll talk about in our favorite parts section. I felt like the storytelling was very unique style, which I really appreciated, that we don't see a lot. And so I loved that we got enough answered while still setting us up for book 3 to be really compelling. And I feel like it's almost like we wrapped up enough things while still keeping enough things open-ended to where we're looking forward to book 3, but we're not mad at book 2. It's like a good balance.
It doesn't lag in action whatsoever. So if you're wondering that, it is probably more chaotic than book 1. So if you're wondering, like, there are a lot of people that didn't want to continue or maybe DNF'd book 1. If they're wondering if the pacing kind of calms down in book 2, I'd say definitely not. It definitely ramps up, and you are getting multiple POVs. So
I wouldn't say...
I know some people get turned off by that, so I think it needs to be said in case you're looking for that information. I loved it, but we are biased because we enjoy multiple POVs.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. I like to know what's going on all over the place from different, from different perspectives, for sure. You know, I think that this was a good example of, like you said, I don't think that the pacing necessarily slowed down, but what it did do is it went inward with our characters a lot more than we got in book 1. In my opinion.
Because we have the world built up in our head so far. So we didn't need too much recapping with that.
Yeah.
So I think focus on the characters more and what's happening with them.
Yeah. So I think that was smart. I think that was really smart. It was just as this one was, I felt like just as much of an emotional, mental journey for our characters and for us. Then like it was a little bit more than book 1, but it was still like lots of action, lots of adventure, lots of things happening, to keep the pace moving forward. Never bored, never even slightly disinterested in anything that was going on. It was like, whoa, so much information. Definitely 5 stars. I gave it a 2 spice. I felt like it had a little bit of spice, but it was balanced. It wasn't, I wouldn't have had more or less in this book. I feel like it was just the right amount to make sense with the story. Yeah,
for sure.
Would you say that? Agree?
Agreed.
And like, I mean, I still would recommend it to, you know, anyone who loves Romantasy, anyone who loves dragon lore. I feel like the Moonfall series does dragon lore in such a cool, unique, very in-depth way that I feel like a lot of series, like, we want that and just don't get it from. Into dragon lore, into Romantasy, into high fantasy, you know, don't mind multi-POV, lots of world building, all that kind of good stuff. Yeah.
Totally. Agreed.
It's like not the easiest intro to Romantasy book that you could recommend, but it is worth it for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
Right. Well, should we just get into the spoilers?
Let's go. Rah, rah. Dragon sounds. Spoilers are coming, you guys. So if you haven't finished this read yet, pause it, save it to your playlist, watch it later because you do not want to be spoiled. We are going to go right in depth to everything, starting with our 5-sentence summary. How did you do this time, Liz? This was a lot.
This was kind of a weird one, though, because I felt like, you know, the book starts off with Con and Rave being separate. Mm-hmm. Then we end up with them being together, I would say, for 80% of the book. And then we get a little bit more of them separate at the end. So it's like, I didn't really want to write like their separate POV 5-sentence summaries, because then they would be split in the whole middle and there would be a lot of missing information. So what I did was I just did a 5-sentence summary for Con and Rave that just included all of that. So it made it a little bit long, obviously convoluted, but this is the nature of the game we are playing, so that's fine. With everyone else, we had POV from Kazari, from Grimm, from Arkin, from Pyrock, and from Bea. So, but we didn't have much information or enough to like make those into 5-sentence summaries as well. So what I did was I made all of those into a 5-sentence summary.
Yeah. Okay.
But their stories don't mesh.
Connect. So it's like one sentence for each.
Yes,
like point
exactly.
Of view. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, technically, what I did was 1 sentence for Grimm, 1 for Arkin, 1 for Pyrock, and then 2 for Vea, because I feel like she needed a little extra. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yes. So that is how this is broken down. So yeah, most of the story will be contained in just this 5-sentence summary from Con and Rave's perspective, but there would be missing details if we didn't include that other part at the end. So here we are. So here we go. The Ballad of Falling Dragons 5-sentence summary from Con and Rave's perspective. Con waits in his kingdom for Rave to return from torturing and killing Rek Zaros with the knowledge that a great moonfall has been predicted by Lumo the Miskin, when he receives information that Roan, Pyrock's younger brother, is being put on trial in Bothame by the Tri-Council for stealing the Book of Void, which he claims he did not do because he simply wanted to look at it when it mysteriously disappeared. However, he is found guilty when he announces that the Tri-Council is indeed hoarding knowledge, as he had suspected, that a moonfall is coming and that the council is keeping a secret because they have the magical means to protect their own citadel. Con and Pyrock sneak underground to where the Tri-Council plans to feed Roan to the Anthe as punishment, a creature that lives in the river, when they are reunited dramatically with Rave, who happens to be dumping Rek's body in the same place. She's saving them when they fall in the water and are almost eaten.
1. Woo! Starting off with a banger.
As they're making their way out of the heavily guarded caves, Rave is able to walk straight through several deadly runes on accident, but actually guided by the Fate Herder, to the Book of Void, which kills most people who even try to hold it, but Rave steals it easily, and they make it to the surface, where Roan uses Con's blood to explode a hole in the city wall for them to escape. Con passes out because of the energy drain, and as they're being overtaken with soldiers, even though Rave uses her power to stave off dragonfire and an assault from the Chancellors, Con wakes up and Raigon swoops in, so they are able to fight their way out to the Burns border, unleashing Raigon's flames on the city to aid in their escape. However, this is considered an act of war.
2. Womp womp.
They make it to Balloon. I don't know how to say that. Balloon. The shielded dragon-rearing city, and meet Con's cousin Cori and her mother, the chiefess and pregnant aunt Saharna, who soon gives birth to her new baby boy, when Lyri shows up angry and vengeful that she was left behind. So Rave scales the pillar to Lyri's perch. I can't even talk. So Rave scales the pillar to Lyri's perch with the intention to bond with her, and is given the chance to when she removes her saddle and proves that her freedom is her priority. They go to the top of an icy peak and bond, shifting something in Rave, turning her feral because of the mental and emotional toll the shift brought on, until Con talks her back to the surface. They break through their own barriers to finally confess their mutual love, and decide to travel to Boggith together to retrieve the last moon shard from Slotra's fall, taking Pyrock with them.
I lost count. 4?
That's 3.
3, okay.
Okay, now we get into the long ones, guys. Enjoy. A messenger from Sareem and the Fjord de Ath comes for her, revealing that they know she's alive and that the Elding himself says that the fate of the Flourish is in her hands, and her mission to kill a silver-eyed and silver-haired fae will save the realm. Rave does not tell Con about her blood bond, but plans to finish this final job and use her newly honed powers, wielding all of the elements, to finally break herself from Sareem while they're in Boggith, retrieving the Moonshard and finding the boy, who is also there to capture a Molten Maw egg, who can supposedly help them to transcribe the Book of Void. She finds and takes the moon shard and in exchange helps give life back to the dragon egg the molten maw, protecting it was mourning, before leaving secretly with Leary to murder the Fae when she realizes he is the same boy that they've been looking for, and this was actually a highly orchestrated trap set by the Elding, who is working with the Tri-Council to catch Khan. They escape to the Undercity, where Rave tells Khan about the bond, which the boy named Avi says he can break if they return to where it was originally forged, in Gore. So they leave Pyrock in her old secret apartment with the baby dragon Gruffin and head to the mineshaft where Avi breaks the bond, even though it almost kills Rave. Then Sareem shows up with a note that Khan must go meet with Kazari, and at this point we're pretty sure this was all a long game trap, and that the Fear Da'ath has been working with the Scavenger King all along, who is actually the Elding and Khan's half-brother Arkin, and they're ambushed. Rave wakes up in a cell with Kazari and Bea, kills a bunch of guards, and is knocked out while Khan is also taken, but they wake up bound in a room together, being taunted by Arkin, who brings Eluin's diary out for Rave to reveal the entire truth of her past, so she agrees to be his in order to save her family, but Arkin plans to make she and Khan fight in the arena to the death instead.
4.
Here we go. Okay. Slatra surfaces and says goodbye to Khan through Rave, passing her power to Rave, who becomes cognizant right as the moons begin to fall, harnessing all of her power fully for the first time, calling on all the gods to tear the arena apart, destroying it and everyone in it, before realizing that it's not the Moonfall, but Raygon come to help them, and when she snaps back to herself, she and Khan see Arkin flying away on an Elding bird and somehow escaping, so they decide to separate. Rave going to find Kazari, and Khan and Raygon going after Arkin. Rave frees the prisoners, then goes to Kazari and Bea's cell to find it empty. Just a clue from Uno and Nee. But with the help of Claude and Boulder, she heads back to the surface, the caves collapsing when she is violently shoved out onto Leary's back, and they find Uno, Bea, and Kazari and Kylus, their world-ending love, causing the Moonfall to happen. But as she approaches, Kylus searches her soul and finds her worthy, disappearing back into the diadem and leaving Rave to take his place with her daughter Kazari. Meanwhile, Raygon chases Arkin in the direction of Nethrin, despite Khan's efforts to convince him not to because of the deathly cold. But they catch up to Arkin, and a bloody battle ensues, Khan stabbing the bird, but not before it pecks out one of Raygon's eyes and gravely injures him, causing him to crash. So Khan kills Arkin and saws his head off. Then they see the Elding bird turn into a woman with red hair before she fully dies. Then Raygon cuts his bond with Khan, not enough strength to die as a moon, and curls around him as they both fade away, when Leary swoops in to save him, and we fast forward to everyone together, underground, and safe at the moment.
5.
Crazy.
That's crazy.
Okay, so here's all the little side tangents. I only included just the bare minimum of what I think we'll need going into book 3. Okay. So, Grimm. Grimm is shaping a nest in Gondra so he can bond with a saber synth egg, but once he makes it to her nest, he realizes all 3 of her eggs have hatched and died, the mother grieving and miserable, and he thinks she'll kill him, but she doesn't, and in his grief and anger, he jumps on her back and they fly, unexpectedly bonding.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay, we've got Arkin's point of view. Now we know, obviously, his head is sawed off, but we got a little epilogue, so we're wondering about that. Okay, Arkin's POV. Arkin is in bed with the Tri-Council and Sareem and the rebel group because supposedly the Citadel is low on funds and their goal is to unlock the North's untapped supply of Bloodstone once Kadok and Tyroth take control of the burn. However, if Arkin can do it instead, they agree to back him since he won't require them to share their profits. He only wants the crown and the power to himself. So the reason why I included this is just because I feel like it's important to note the political kind of like back dealings everyone's doing.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, then we've got Pyrock's point of view, one of maybe the most interesting. Hiding in Rave's old lair, he ventures upstairs and finds a woman who turns out to be Essie. She senses blood and guesses that his sister is Queen Dothea Vagor, Kadok's wife, and they become friends. So Essie goes to get food for Gruffin. When she almost gets attacked by monsters, Pyrock jumps in to save her, but then his dragon and a molten maw get into a fight he can't call her off from. But Essie is already injured, then burned to a crisp, but comes out as if she is an Elding bird, alive and able to save Pyrock from his injuries with her blood. Interesting. And lastly, we have Vea with a little bit of Kazari in there, POV. Okay, Vea takes the journal and tries to escape the castle when Tyroth confronts her, revealing that he can manipulate memories, showing Vea that she was the one forced to kill Eluin's family because it was foretold that the world would end if she wasn't the one to do it. Baron, Tyroth's abused dragon, saves her, taking her in his claws and flying north before his strength runs out, and he gently tosses Vea into the snow and launches himself into the sky to become a moon. She travels through the snowy plains and wasteland, dying from her injuries, but trying to at least get close enough to the mist to send Khan the message she has a daughter. When she passes out in a cave and wakes up hostage to Arkan, who reveals to her who he is and what his motives are, digs in her mind for information, but she gives up little, so he imprisons her in the dungeons where she finds Kazari, who's all but given up on living, and gives her the journal before the Miskin Uno breaks Vea and Kazari free, where they are met and guided by the Fate Herder out into the snow when suddenly Kazari's diadem lights up as she sings, and Kylus emerges to heal her and hold her. They are obviously in love, and the power around them is so strong, it flings Vea far away, and then the moons start to fall.
Ooh.
5. Well, and... notable mention, asterisk, epilogue, Sareem is still alive, question mark, and recovers Arkan's remains, WTF.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Not sure how to include that, so that's why I just put it in there like a WTF moment. Like, I don't know even what to make of this or where this is going.
Yeah.
Okay, so, Ash, did you have any... new important characters, places, or creatures that we should keep track of moving into book 2?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
So, Scavenger King, which you just talked so much about, a.k.a. Arkan, half-brother to the Vagar siblings, Khan, Vea, and the asshole brother, Tyroth, who is currently King of the Shade. Okay? And then I think, just in case it's going to come up again, but is her name Ada, the pregnant servant of Tyroth?
Yes. Ayda. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's probably going to come up in book 3. So Ada. And then we have obviously Kazari. Officially now everyone knows by the end of it that she is the daughter of Khan and Rave, which we knew about Rave, and we knew as readers about Khan, but not everybody did. Yeah. All right. And then we have the other, which is officially Slatra. That is basically like has embedded her soul within Rave and does the things that Rave isn't able to do and is protecting those memories for her and basically releasing them as she feels like she's ready. So I love her so much. So that's what we were hoping for. Mm-hmm. But we didn't know. In the last episode we talked about, is it some kind of weird possession? Is it some multiple crazy side of herself? Yeah, like what is going on there? But it's actually Slatra, her dragon that she had bonded with. And Slatra didn't really die, so I think that's why it's like a loophole. Mm-hmm. Because when Rave died, she took up Rave and went to and became a moon. So I think a part of her was able to transfer into herself, which might be what we're seeing with these moonfalls. That's my prediction on there, right?
Oh, because I just completely remembered a part that I forgot out of the summary.
Yeah. Freaking Rave's brother shows up?
Yes, because it's exactly what you're saying, where it's like his dragon fell and then he emerges from the freaking rubble.
Because he died because he was so, because the bond is so strong that sometimes just like the pharaohs with the cats, like that's where I can see it pulled from. The cats are buried with the pharaohs of our past. And so you have people dying or the dragons dying because the other one died, but sometimes I don't feel like maybe they just didn't die. And they are able to imprint within each other somehow. Well, and so the moon's falling. Something's going on with that.
Yeah, the way that they describe it too is that it's like, that silver like thread or whatever. Like Slatra was able to like pull it out of herself and like give it to Rave. So like that, it's like, what is that? Like, is it life force? Is it like, we're not really sure exactly what that means yet. But yeah. So anyways, sorry I forgot that part, but yes, what's his name? Hayden, I'm pretty sure. He's alive.
Or Hadion. Again. I don't know if it's Hayden or Hadion.
Yeah. He's alive again.
So he's alive and seemingly also might not remember who he is. Mm-hmm. Because he stumbles, unfortunately for him and all of us, upon the asshole, what's her name?
Sareem.
Sareem. Stumbles upon Sareem, and it's like, well. So, great. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with that. And then we also have, so we talk about Grimm. So that, again, is Khan's second in command, who went off to bond with a new dragon after losing his bonded moon plume, Inca. Mm-hmm. So he is now bonded to this big silver saber scythe that is to be feared. So that was awesome scene.
Like one of the most strongest dragons ever in existence. Yeah. So I'm excited to see where that goes.
That's gonna come in handy. Mm-hmm. Then we have Pyrock, who we got the other POV from as well. So also a friend and part of the Imperial court member to Khan. Big lumbering oaf, I put. And sibling to Roan, Roan. Mm-hmm. So Roan is also obviously a member of Khan's Imperial court, and he's also an alchemist. Yeah. So just in case.
Very talented alchemist.
Yes, very talented. And then we have, so Avi is the young boy that comes in to the scene, if you will, and he's the young boy with immense powers like rune reading and building, and then mind weft, and probably other things too. Mm-hmm. He's very talented, jack of all trades, and a good kid, good young scrappy kid, who's just a pawn in the political wars, but also knows what's right and is trying to fight against them. Then we have Essie coming back, which was like, what? So that, in case you don't remember from book 1, that was Rave's friend that like got stabbed in the market and she burned her body. Well, good thing, I guess, because hey, she's perhaps that bird-like creature and a phoenix, so that was fine. So maybe that's what healed her. Maybe because she's dying, so she burns her.
I'm suspicious of her, but yeah.
Oh, you think it's not her?
No. I think it's her. So, should we save this for theories or what?
Yeah, save it for theories.
All right. I have theories about Essie.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. And on Sareem, the serpent bitch is back, and I mean that in a derogatory way.
Literally, how she's still alive. She's like a cockroach, It's like she keeps coming back.
So annoying. Yeah, so she's the previous keeper of Rave's blood binding. Now broken, we end the book with her seeming to take the blood of the fallen scavenger king. What does that mean? What's that going to do? Can she bring him back to life? I freaking hope not.
Imagine. Like, I don't think he's even worth bringing back. Like, give me a break.
Well, it sounds like she's going to bring him back as, like, her zombie that's going to do her bidding.
Yeah.
Like, weird. Yeah. Like, she loves him. I don't know why.
She's like a little obsessed with him. I know. She's like obsessed with him, though. It's weird.
It's like an annoying, like, just be obsessed with each other, you weirdos, and just go do it in the mountains like a normal person in this fantasy world. Yes. Like, stop being obsessed with other people and ruining everybody else's lives. You both are weird and both obsessive, and just get together and leave us alone. Mm-hmm. And then we have Kalis, god of the Aether, who has been released.
I think he's back. Well, it's weird because it's like, I think that Kazari had, obviously the power to unleash him at least a little bit, but now he's back in the diadem again once Rave kind of took his place. So, yeah, TBD on
like,
him.
What is that going to mean?
Yeah.
Are the moons not supposed to be there? Like, is he being trapped by I'm saying like siblings, like the other gods, because he's good in some way, like he wants obviously something that they don't want. So what is that?
Yeah.
What is that? What is that about?
Well, yeah. And it's also like, is this some kind of conspiracy from the Tri-Council, like to dull the powers of, this bloodline that's super powerful? You know what I'm saying? Like, what's going on with that? Because it's like specifically like the woman in the bloodline needs to be the one that wears it. So it's like, obviously it was Eluan's mom, and then it was her, now it's Kazari, and it's kind of like, what is that about? Like, who is like that's a question for book 3, but yeah, that is something that I think about a lot, because I'm like, is it about subduing their power? I don't think it's just about Kalis or however you want to say his name. I think it has something to do with him, but not everything to do with him.
Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. For sure. Interesting. And we've already been over like a lot of the dragons, so I think that's pretty good.
Well, yeah, we just have Gruffin.
Yeah.
Avi's cute little baby dragon.
He's so cute. Rhaegon, I think that he's passed away, but we'll see, I guess. Liz is holding out some hope. I'm a little more glum on that.
Yeah.
Illume, and then Slatra we have still inside Rave, so...
But she did say goodbye, so I wonder if that was, like, her officially saying, like, you know, I can fade away and rest now because, you know, she says thank you for loving Rave as much as I do when she has that conversation with Khan. So that kind of, to me, kind of symbolized her kind of fading away into the, you know, night a little bit. Yeah.
Leary is still around. It seems like they're bonded, but it's different with Leary. Like, bonded but free.
Yeah, it's more of like a mutual. It's like it's like not a power over situation, which I think was really important to Rave to not have, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, you know, you covered everyone except for Borg, who, this was a new magic specific to this book that we didn't see in the first book. So he's a waif that Khan
I have more. I have all creatures.
Oh, you have creatures? Okay. I just wanted to make sure we talk about him because I was like,
just the
he's
dragons,
gonna come up again. Yeah. Okay.
And then the last dragon, I think, worth mentioning the name of is Ara, which is the one that Grim bonded to.
Yeah.
The Saber Sith.
Yeah.
Saber Scythe. So then we have magical creatures. So I got this from estapinto.com. So in case you need a reference guide. So we have the Anth. So that was that water creature that we saw. Super freaky. Super duper freaky. That one's underneath Bothame. And then we have Crowl, which are park creatures that hunt the snowy plains on the south side of the wall in the Fade. And they are meat eaters. Let's see. Domquill, prickly predators that rattle and howl and raid dens in the snow. The main prey is fresh, young, more vulnerable creatures. So that's what I think we had with Pyrock, right? A Domquill?
Yeah.
Doomquill?
So. Yeah.
Then the Elding Bird. So this is the one that's really on our radar now, obviously. Mythical bird-like creatures born from ashes and flame. So very much Phoenix coded. And very much reminded me of Shield of Sparrows.
Yeah, for sure. Also, do you have any more on them? Because I made a couple notes.
Let's see. I have the Fate Herder came back again. And there's like so cute with Avi. Yeah. So they have like a cute little bond as well. That's the silver feline cat creature that we saw in the first book. Came back from the second. And then the larks. I love the larks. They're so cute. The paper larks. Let's see. Velvet Trog came up a lot. Those are large, lanky creatures that like to hoard and feed on trash.
Yeah.
They have
they're
4
kind
arms.
Of funny. They're the, that's like where Vea went to go get her bracelet back from.
Yeah, I forgot about them. That's so creepy. We have the Waifs, which is like Borg, which is kind of their little creepy genies.
Yeah,
that
totally.
live in a little bottle, but they're not granting wishes, but they are letting them know what's going on out in the world. They kind of communicate to each other to find out what's happening, and they make deals based on feeding off like your deepest, darkest like trauma. So it is such a interesting tool for the author to use to be able to find out these either repressed memories or memories that the character might not be wanting to think and talk about, you know, because he could go in there and scavenge around and find out these horrible things that happen to specifically Khan, but then also we see other people have waifs too.
Yeah.
So.
And they're able to communicate like through their little waif community like brain, you know, which I thought was kind of interesting. That's how they like get information about other people, so they can like hunt, you know, find where people are or like give intel.
I pictured that guy from Harry Potter that's like a Spaniard and a headless Hank or something like that. Headless Harry. His head like falls back. I don't know. That was the person that I pictured with it.
That's funny. I don't remember that. So another thing I wanted to say about the Elding birds. So they were hunted to extinction, but the few remaining were believed to have fluttered back into the Book of Void from whence they came, born of another world. So I included that on purpose because I feel like that's going to come back again because obviously that's got to be what Essie is. And that was what Arkin's little girlfriend was. So
yeah. Yeah, so when she says another world, does that mean like we say another world like another time of this world? Or is it literally a different world? It's a different plane of existence? What does it mean?
I don't know, but apparently it has something to do with the good old Book of Void, which we do not really understand at this point what that means. Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go. There we go, guys.
Any other miscellaneous, like, you know, places or anything like that you want to bring up? I feel like that was all pretty, like, straightforward.
Yeah, a lot of the same places that we saw from last time repeated. And then we also have Gondra. That's where Grimm went with all the, like, dragon eggs and people basically going up there to find their eggs. And he ran into some other people that were doing it as well. Bormine, like you said, that's where the, like, citadel is with the Tri-Council.
Yeah.
Where they reside. So, and then we ended up, I liked that we were able to go back to some of the original places we were in the first one.
And then also the, you know, dragon rearing city that Khan's aunt lives in as well. I feel like that's going to come up again because we don't even really know what's going on with them once all this crazy stuff happens at the end. So let's see. What is that place even called? Balloon, something like that. Anyways, that is where, and she just had a baby too. So I feel like that's going to come back around for sure.
Yeah.
So
I
do have, let's see, I feel like I should just go over a little bit of the lore right now. Okay, so these are the things that I noted. I don't necessarily obviously know going into book 3 what's going to become super important, but for some reason, these are the things that stood out to me. So here we go. So Essie said many of the world's most precious and powerful relics are hidden here, locked safely away, but what she was most taken with was the story of a male fae who'd been around for eons, the first to tame a dragon, his skin now etched in so many runes he'd become something other, kept behind one of these doors. So who could we be talking about? Like, who is this person? Not sure. There's some connections with some Easter eggs I'll share at the end that I think I found also that I think might have to do with that. So let's see, on page 161, opening to such ancient, profound beasts, it stretches the Fey mind. Expected, given we fled with the senses of creatures many believe weren't originally of this world. A process that sheds light on our deepest, darkest corners, on any mental baggage that might be tucked somewhere collecting dust. So again, it's like we're getting allusions to a quote-unquote another world. There are only 2 silver moon plumes in our known history, and only one of those has fallen. Slatra. So that was mentioned in particular. So the other silver moon plume. Yeah. An honorable folk will not remove an egg from a hatchling ground without first giving in some way, he clarifies, scanning the bog reflected in his firestorm eyes. Otherwise, an unbalance will nest on their chest until their heart, body, or soul withers, or they're taken from the world prematurely. I was like, okay, I wonder, like, if that's going to come around, too. Just talking about, like, the bonds with the new dragons.
Yeah.
And then we also, just to kind of, like, paraphrase, but we get that whole scene with the ribbon being pulled out of Slatra and, like, put into Eluin's chest. So what does that mean? That's what gave her life, but, like, literally, what does it mean? So, you know, all it says is, she doesn't give herself to death. Instead, she unbinds that silver ribbon, tangled through the fibers of her soul, gently unwinds every loose thread until it's a restless spool surging with the very essence of existence. Then she shifts it from behind her ribs and plants it deep in Eluin's chest. What kind of magic do the dragons really have? Like, what are they from another world, etc.? So those were, like, the little pieces of lore that I thought would be important moving forward that we didn't already, like, get explained. And then I do have some Easter eggs that I'll share closer to the end also.
Yeah. Does his dragon dies first, right? Yeah. So, like, I wonder how that works. Like, Maybe that, like, because how is he back? Okay.
I don't know. I mean, we don't really know, but I mean, you could, so the way that I kind of thought about it was like, obviously he was poisoned. Now we know by Vea. So assuming that his dragon took him and went up into the sky to die, maybe his dragon did the same thing.
So that must be what's happening at certain points. If the person passes and takes them up, they have the ability to transfer that string into them, which is, like you said, a life force of some sort. So, and he seems to not, it's very much like what happened with Rave.
Yeah.
So I wonder what other powerful beings are also crashing down to this planet from the moons. Bad or good or bad.
Yeah.
That'll be interesting to have these players come back. Is that what can happen with the birds? The bird girl.
The bird girls.
Can she do that? Can she do that? Because she's weeping and crying over him as well. She doesn't calcify and she can't do it the same way. And even she says that they can't do that. What's her name? Sareem says that the birds can't turn into moons. So she knows more too than she's letting on. Sareem. So it'll be, got lots to unfold in the next book. I wonder how long we're going to have to wait. It's okay. Take your time, but it's a lot still. So unless she already started it, it's probably going to be another 2 years because we don't have a date yet.
I know. So, all right. What were your 3 favorite tropes from this book?
3 favorite tropes that I loved. Personal growth and development from like all the characters and like finding out more about the characters too. Character development in general. Badass FMC. She doesn't waver in strength. I think a lot of times we see like badass FMCs that are just, they're badasses when they have to be. But she's herself through and through, for better or worse, flawed. Does she make every decision the same way I would make it? No, but she stays consistent with who she is as a character. And I can appreciate that. And then, magical creatures and monsters. I like that we're getting more. We eat that up over here. So
for sure.
Yeah. What do you got?
I put trauma healing because to me that's what this book was really about. And I loved the way that, Sarah Parker kind of dives into that just through obviously Khan going back through his memories because of his trades with, Borg. And then I loved, how Rave would have to like jump into her metaphorical lake to like dig memories up from there as well. So yeah, the trauma healing part was huge. I loved it. Bonded creatures. So obviously the bonds with the dragons was also a huge part of this book. And then touch him and die, because I feel like there was a lot of that in this book, and I loved it. It was so great. Like, the stuff that Rave would say was just hilarious and so, like, just vengeful, and I love her character, and so it made it just that much better. We don't get a whole lot of, like, touch him and die, I feel like, in Romantasy, and especially not, like, believable. But with Rave, it's definitely believable.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
What about a trope you didn't like?
Trope I didn't like, I wouldn't change it, but like, oh, this sucks. Obsession, specifically Arkin, obsessed, not only with revenge, but straight up obsessed with Rave.
Yeah,
like,
so
gross.
much.
Stop being a creep,
Yeah. So much.
It's like, it reminds me of that. What does she have? Beer flavored nipples from 10 Things I Hate About You?
Yeah.
Isn't it that movie? Like, everybody's so obsessed with her. And it's just like, dude, get a grip. These brothers are obsessed with her. I get it. She's awesome. I'm obsessed with her too, but not in a creepy way, Chill out, bro.
Well, there's...
Like, I get the revenge thing, but like, calm down on everything else.
Well, I feel like there's something we don't fully understand, too, about, like, that bloodline. Like, and the reason why they were wiped out. I don't think they were completely wiped out just for the reasons that we have. You know what I mean? Like, that seems... I mean, not that, like, that couldn't happen, but it seems like there's more to that story.
Yeah.
I put breaking bonds because, like, literally the breaking bonds with dragons is, like, just so sad. It's so sad.
Very sad. Very sad.
It brings back, like, the trauma of, like, watching Dragonheart as a kid.
Yeah.
It's so sad. It's like, and we know he goes up into the sky and becomes a constellation, but it doesn't make it any easier. It's sad. Yeah. What about a microtrope?
I mean, I put creature bonds. I don't know if that's a microtrope because you listed it in regular, but yeah, any of the creature bonds. I love to see it. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. I like that they discuss it too, because it does like bode an ethical issue sometimes about it. You know, it's like, well, do they want to be bonded? You know, but Grimm kind of discusses that a little bit up in the hills that he is with the dragons and the volcanoes and stuff. Yeah. So I think it's a beautiful thing. It's very symbiotic nature. So I love it. Mm-hmm.
I put a god trapped in an object. So I like that kind of stuff. Like, I feel like, where's that going? We're not sure. We don't really understand that. It was like, see, I almost wonder if like Kalis or however you say his name, like, I wonder if it's like he's the only one who has enough power to subdue whatever power the women of that bloodline have. And that's why he's used. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if that has something to do with it. Like, not of his own free will, because obviously he's in love with Kazari, but someone knew that, and that's why they harnessed him in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the magic. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, God's trapped in an object. Love it.
Yeah, totally.
It's good lore.
What about your favorite part? What was your favorite part of this book?
I put my favorite part was the storytelling through the memories and like the symbolism with the lake. Like, I loved that. I thought that was very smart, and was a way to get us to not just experience like the trauma of having to like relive those memories with our main characters, but also gave us the history that we needed to start putting the pieces together. So I like that it served those dual purposes. And just showed us so much. It's fun to just like plug everything in, like little by little. Like, I like that kind of thing. So that was definitely my favorite part, was the storytelling style of this book.
Yeah, for sure. I liked that it was action packed and you didn't have to wait. I loved the final battle scene, essentially. Like, of course, when it comes to a crescendo, it's like, but there's so many battle scenes, you know, it's very much like fantasy, you know, and Lord of the Rings coded, where it's like, it's not one final moment that you get that you have to wait 700 pages to get to. It's like, it's happening the whole time, you know?
Yeah.
So I loved that. It's what a whirlwind though, that final battle scene was. Definitely sticks out.
Yeah.
And, you know, having Kazari be able to be escaped and just everything, the freaking fighting ring and the battle in the sky, dragon bird battle in the sky, like crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Freaking that bird pecking out Rhaegon's eye and like freaking trying to peck out his brain. I was like, this is so sad.
Yeah. I was definitely shedding tears multiple times in those final scenes, for sure.
Yeah. This book got me all throughout, honestly, because like when she was like bonding with Leary, like, you know what I mean? It was like there were so many like special moments, and those ones get me, even if they're not sad, right? Because I feel like we know what our characters have gone through, so they're still like bittersweet. So yeah, those are the ones that get me. But definitely, I mean, I hope Rhaegon pulled through, but it's not looking good.
Yeah. I know we probably should have done the Cry-ometer for this episode.
I know. I thought about that. I didn't either, but yeah, I mean, this would definitely be up there, because I would say if I had to estimate the cries, it would probably be somewhere around 5 or 6.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Whew, yeah.
So what was your least favorite part?
Talking about crying.
Nervous laughter.
Yeah. Yeah, that whole birth scene was extremely traumatic. That was getting me good. That was horrible.
You're talking about Eluin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, is she gonna live? Is she not? She lives, and then Tyroth just friggin' killing her right after. Okay, great. So that was a very, like, I get it. Like, she might not make the best choices, and it is frustrating that she's not accepting her past, but trauma does stuff to people, you know? And when we finally get, like, her final moments, it's horrific. It's horrific.
Well, it's not just trauma. I mean, it's I think that's why I liked it, because it's a lot of symbolism too. It's like, you know, it's like for anyone who's experienced like intense trauma like that, you know that your brain can kind of like shut down and shield you from a lot of what happened. So it's like she literally has that, but then she also has probably some actual memory loss from like being in the sky for like who knows how long, solidified as a moon. Yeah. And then there's also like, you know, the fact that she has, you know, her bonded dragon who has protected her from her memory. So it's like, I love that it's like a multi-layered thing. So there's like a quote unquote like tangible reason why she doesn't have these memories, but then also it could be just as simple as her brain's protecting itself.
Yeah, and it can be all those things. And I think it is. And I think it's easy for readers to write it off as like, oh my gosh, you know, you have a child out there, like, get it together. But it's so much more complicated than that.
Yeah.
I mean, much like Vea, like, it's not her finding out that she was the one that poisoned her whole family. You know, that's something that we're going to have to work through in the next book for sure. But I hope that Rave is like understanding, you know, it wasn't her fault. Like, she was put there against her will. And she knows how. So I think that's going to be handled good.
I think so too. I think Vea is going to be the one who's going to have to go through her moment to contend with that. I think Rave is going to forgive her, as hard as that is. But then also, you know, now we're knowing, or we have the knowledge of the fact that, well, we're having like this catastrophic, quote unquote, moonfall. We know that, you know, Hadeon is alive. Well, might her parents be too? Like, so, I mean, as bad as all of that is,
yeah,
they might be coming back. I don't know.
Ooh, coming back with a vengeance.
My least favorite part, I just put poor Vea, dude.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I felt like
one thing after another.
You know, if, you know, I'm a Kale apologist, I'm an Adeon apologist. I feel like literally Vea is like playing that role for this series, and it's just like kick her when she's down. You know what I mean? It's that's just the role she's taken on, and I love Vea, and it sucks to see her have to go through it, but it's like she's just that character. So
it's like for every win she gets like 5 loses.
And bad ones too. Not even
like almost dies. Like, you know?
Yeah.
That dragon, that Tyroth, his friggin' dragon, he mangled
saved her. I know.
He saved her. I love him so much.
See, I cried at that too. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. I think it's like there's a weird like childhood like something that gets triggered by like a dragon bonding with a human and saving them that I think stems from like that old age lore. You know what I mean? And it just gets me every time, man. It just gets me every time.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you ready for my funny least favorite part that I've been waiting to tell you for like 2 weeks?
Okay, wait. My least favorite part, because another shout out to Sareem showing up right when she gets unbound to her. That sucked, man. I was screaming, don't do it. Don't say yes, Con, because it's that at that point I knew. Like, this is a trap. That's Scavenger King she's working for him. Like, this is all orchestrated.
I like that the Scavenger King was just everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, oh my God, how many identities can this guy have? Give me a break. Like, you know, and it's like, Khan, it's just kind of crazy to watch all these, like, timelines unfolding, though, because it's like, Khan doesn't even know that he's got this half-brother, let alone that he's, like, organizing all this stuff.
Know. Yeah. Also, that dad sucked. I killed him.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sorry
I took it from you.
Yeah.
But, like, also, he was terrible to me. He could be terrible to multiple people.
Yeah. Like, obviously, you're literally...
It wasn't just you.
Gonna have all this revenge on me because I killed the guy you wanted to kill. Like, give me a break. Yeah.
Be faster. I don't know.
Yeah. God. Yeah. I mean, just, you know, bad luck after bad luck for sure. But yes, I did think that was kind of like ironic and kind of funny, not in a ha-ha, but like an ironic kind of way that I was like, Khan doesn't even know he's got a half brother off in the distance.
Give the guy a break. He doesn't even know he has a daughter. This poor guy is in the woods.
But it's everything. Like, this guy's been pulling the strings though with the Tri-Council. He's been pulling the strings with the, you know, with Sareem and her group. Like, literally, he's doing all this stuff. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. So maybe he will be brought back. Great. Here we go.
Great.
So anyway, the actual funny thing that was the one thing I did not like about this book and that it kept pulling me out because it kept happening was the word heft. H-E-F-T.
Oh,
heft.
I didn't notice.
It was used so many times and I just couldn't deal with it. It was like, because it's one thing if you're talking about like, you know, moving a big rock or like whatever, you know what I mean? But it's like, then she started like describing Khan's area as having much heft. And I was like, okay, like it's too much and too far. And it's now been used 8,000 times in this book. And so heft was the one thing I didn't like about the book.
Yep.
That'll
do it.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
What about your favorite character?
I still freaking love Rave. Like I said, as flawed as she is, and in denial, she's also not. Just to be protected by so many things. But special shout out, and probably an unpopular opinion, but I do love the chapters with Pyrock and Essie.
Oh,
I think people
love
are
Pyrock.
Going to complain about it. I thought there was just so much going on, and it was so heavy. It was the comic relief that we needed. Because I had switched the audio at that point, and the narrator for Pyrock is hilarious.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, just recommend listening to his chapters. Because it was great, and it broke up some of the tension and the brutality that we were seeing from this world. So, it was necessary for me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my favorite character is Rave for sure. But I mean, I love this found family situation that's happening. I love Pyrock as well. I love Grimm. I think Grimm's going to end up being one of my favorite characters in the next book.
Oh my gosh, the voice for him.
I mean,
let me tell you.
Yeah. We talked about that with book
Khan's
one.
voice isn't my thing, but Grimm, ooh.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
He should be Khan's voice. Sorry. There's multiple narrators in this, so we'll go over audio in a little bit.
Okay. I'll be curious because I didn't do any of this one on audio because I find that's a lot easier for me to make notes or whatever when I am reading it on Kindle. But yeah, I love all of them. Bea, obviously, like they're all great. I can't wait to see what ends up happening with this found family stuff moving forward. And my least favorite character, you know, other than obviously Arkin and, you know, Tyroth, because they're the worst, is Sareem. She sucks too. Girl, get out of here.
Yeah. Yep, they all suck. I also don't like the Tri-Council.
Oh, yeah.
Assholes. What I don't like about them is I feel like they probably actually believe their own shit that they spew. So that is a problem, right? Like the other guys, the big bads, they know they're big bads. They don't care. It's like, whatever. I want power. The Tri-Council, I think, like, we only know a little bit about them. They might actually believe their own shit doesn't stink, you know? They might actually think that they're working for some greater good, but also dealing with some bad people. And it's like, oh, well, it's a means to an end, you know? But it's like, But
we do know, though, that they have a treaty set up with Tyroth and Kadok, specifically to mine the Bloodstone once the burn is taken over and they kill Khan. So they do have economic interests as well. And so I think that it's like, yes, I agree with you. I think they've drank their own Kool-Aid like through and through. Like I think they're a cult for sure. But I also
like they think that they're good even though they're doing all these really bad things.
Yeah. For things like economic gain. So I think that I mean, they're a good least favorite character because that's insidious. And it's working behind the scenes in a lot of ways, too. And, I mean, honestly, if Kadok and Tyroth are as evil as we think they are, I wouldn't really put it past them to, like, just wipe out the Tri-Council once they get what they want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, before we move on to things like, you know, the audiobooks and unanswered questions, etc., do you have any quotes that you wanted to share?
Yeah, we'll bounce back and forth for a little bit.
Yeah, there's a lot of good ones, as usual. Yeah.
I don't think she realizes how much power she has over me right now. She could ask me for my soul, and I'd put a bow on it. Pretty sure that was Pyrock.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I'm like, we'll get into it in theories, but I'm concerned. I love Pyrock, so I'm worried he's being manipulated. Okay.
Ah, really? I hope not. I think he's just fallen in love with her. She's so cute. But yeah, she was definitely, but was she sent there to keep an eye on Her, I hope not.
So.
But Arkin, like, said that those birds don't usually bond with people. Like, so he went out and, like, got the unbonded. You know what I mean? Like, that's what he was trying to prove to his daddy. That, like, look how strong I am. I got this bird that doesn't usually bond with people. So... No, Essie's gonna be good. Okay.
I hope you're right, but I'll just put it here. My theory that I am concerned about, that I hope I am wrong about, is that Essie was actually a spy for Arkin the whole time and is secretly working for the bad people.
Maybe she'll turn good, though, because of her love for Pyrock, too.
Maybe she'll be the key to
unlocking...
Why
would she stay there the whole time? She basically stayed there and waited for... And she thought she died. She thought Rave died.
Well, I know, but she might...
As far as we know.
As far as we know. If she is an undercover spy, we would only know what we know. And Pyrock... You know, I feel like he would be probably the easiest one in the group to manipulate.
I hope not. I hope not.
But yeah, I hope that I'm wrong as well. I hope that this is just a big misunderstanding, but it seems odd, especially if she does have these special powers, that she wouldn't go looking for...
No, she did. She thought she died. She went and saw her get eaten by the dragon, but he didn't really get eaten.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it is a good story, but I don't think it's deeper than that. But that's all right.
Hopefully not. Hopefully it's not. But
maybe I'm in denial.
Maybe she is just, like, she could be the key to us understanding the book. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Because if, you know, these creatures came from there, then maybe she can give us some insight into what it means and what we're trying to figure out. So it could be that too, which would be great. That's what I would prefer. Okay, so back to quotes. They're right. I don't need anyone. I've lived in a cage my entire life. Whenever I hit rock bottom, I always find a way to break free and catch a breath. Desperation forges keys from the most unassuming things. And that was Kazari. Mm-hmm.
True love doesn't expire, Rave. It clings to you like a weight, even when you're drowning.
I liked this one. My name will become a curse folk won't dare murmur lest it call me upon them like some rabid beast hunting my revenge. I will feast on the flesh of anyone who ever dared mutter a bad word against you. It's a Rave, you know, just like going into her touch him and die mode. I'm like, I love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
This world is big and beautiful. She eases back enough to meet my stare. Hers harder than ever, but it's also ugly and cruel and unjust. There's only so much a heart can handle before it gives out. If you carry everything with you all at once, you'll break.
Mm-hmm. She's one of the mightiest creatures to roam our world, yet she spent her days being told what to do, abiding commands that almost claimed her life. If there's one thing I've learned since Fallon trembled in my arms in the snow and ordered me to live with what was left of her fading breaths, it's that life, with a shackle, tethered to any length of chain, is not living. It's existing, missing a fundamental element, choice.
Okay, I got a funny one.
Okay.
You're right. I gape at him. I'm what? Right. Louder this time and with more gusto. I love it. I love her sense of humor.
Yeah.
You know, through all of this, that she still has a sense of humor is a beautiful thing.
I liked this one. Khan said it. I know it's tempting to disappear, to hide from it all, but you can't take me there, Rave. You can't take me into the wild with you.
Oh, yeah. That's all I got for now, because I had to switch to audio, so it's hard to freaking track my quotes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so we'll end with one of my favorite quotes. I think I actually sent it to you because I was like, Con, dude, like, come on. Always saying the right stuff. Okay. I make for the door before I say or do something stupid. Lean into my urges to ply her with advice until we're both blue in the face. That's not what she needs, nor do I sense is what she wants, else she would have asked. What she needs is for me to be the strong, supportive rock at her side, for me to snuff my own fears and believe in her. Otherwise, I'm just another shackle she has to contend with, another weight.
Ooh.
He gets it. He gets it.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's good. It's a good one.
It is a good one. So, what did you think about the spice?
Yeah, it's good. What did you think?
Yeah, I thought it was, like, perfect. As much as, like, I could read a whole bunch more spice of Con and Rave, and that would be great. Or, yeah, even, like, Essie and Pyrock, or, like, whatever, you know. We'll cross our fingers for some with Grimm later on. It's like, I feel like it was just completely balanced and perfect. And special, and where our main characters needed to go to like move forward. And so, very happy with the spice level in this book. Even though it was only a 2, I felt like it was perfect.
Yeah. Definitely. Anything we haven't discussed yet? Something with Tyroth's upcoming baby. Something has to go on there. I don't know what, but we'll see. What's up with her brother? Yeah. Is the rest of the family going to also be able to walk this plane of existence again? When the moons fall, are all the people that the dragons took with them, do they have this ability, or is it only like a select few that just like had an extra special bond? What's going to happen? I think it's going to change the playing board, and that might be why they didn't want the moons to fall.
Yeah, totally.
That's why that might be a part of not only that bloodline, but why they wanted Callus entrapped, because he knew something else, right? He has a different ability, and by keeping him there, we can see it keeps the moons up in the sky, the dragons and their bonded pairs, which that is a strong bond in and of itself. Yeah. So who else are they keeping up there? Yeah. It's almost like this terrible purgatory prison thing that the gods have created, it sounds like, to keep these powers at bay.
Interesting.
We'll see. What else do you got?
I mean, obviously I'm really excited for book 3. I cannot wait to read it. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be such a treat once we get that announcement. Unanswered questions, I put, WTF is Sareem doing? Like, literally, what is she doing with freaking Arkan's remains? Like, girl, come on. Okay. Also, is Kylus really in love with Kazari? What's going on there? Like, I hope that they're in love. It seemed like they were in love, but like also, obviously their love isn't enough to permanently release him. So how can that happen? And if it does happen, is it going to be a good thing or a bad thing? So yeah, just like that whole,
is she being manipulated?
Yeah, exactly.
She was young and vulnerable.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Obviously, is Rhaegon dead? I'm not willing to accept this until we get confirmation. Is the Dragon Haven village okay? Like, we don't know. Khan's family. Yeah. I just put, what is the Tri-Council up to? Like, who are they in bed with exactly? We don't really know. And then I also said, is Essie, like, aware of the other Elding bird that Arkan was working with? They both have bright red hair. Are they related? Or are they just the same species? Like, I need to know more about that. Yeah. Yeah, and then, I love that we're getting set up with these new dragons. Obviously Grimm's dragon, Avi's dragon, like, where's that going? So, yeah, I mean, I have a lot of questions, but they're all good questions because they're all just setting us up for, book 3. I feel like the only thing that I was a little bit, like, mad/fuzzy about was, like, is Rhaegon actually dead? And then also, what does Sareem think she's doing with Arkan's remains? Like, come on. Yeah. So that, and it's not even necessarily like it's a bad thing. It's just kind of more like I would have liked maybe a teeny bit more information about that. Yeah, before having to, wait indefinitely at this point for book 3.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I mean, do you have any predictions that you wanted to share?
Nothing else that we haven't discussed?
My only prediction is I think we're going to find out some crazy stuff about Khan's past that we don't yet know. About his powers, because I think we do not understand Khan's powers at all. I don't know if he even does. So, after we share a couple more things, I'll go into the lore section, but I do have some evidence to substantiate these claims. But that's my only prediction. Yeah.
I mean, I think we're going to get to know a lot more stuff. Like, what does having that powerful saber scythe mean? Like, what is that going to do?
It's going to help him probably win the war, is probably what's going to happen. Which, hey, I'm here for it. Yeah. So, as of this morning on Goodreads, if we're talking reviews, let's just see here. I have so many notes for this book. I'm like, where did I even put these? It has 22,103 ratings, and it gets an average of a 4.53. So definitely very good. Feel like it's one of those, like, if you really liked When the Moon Hatched and moved on to book 2, you're loving book 2. You know what I mean? It's like, I think that's the challenge, was that book 1 was quite polarizing, I feel like, for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So, and then Audible, same thing. Great. It's only 756 ratings so far, but a 4.8. So that's good. This is a multi-narrated cast. There's 6 in total. My critique on it, because I did at 25% have to switch to audio, honestly against my will. It's just, it's summer and everybody's home, and as soon as I sit down to physically read a book, I'm interrupted constantly. So I have to be up doing stuff, or at least looking like I am, and listening to Audible so that people don't interrupt me, so I can get these reads in. So I would not have chosen personally to do the Audible on this, just because it's so much. So for a reread, it was great for When the Moon Hatched, but physically reading When the Moon Hatched, I think, was important. And maybe I'll do the opposite next time if I get a chance to physically reread this one, because I'm sure I missed some things in there. It's just a lot. So it's not my preference to do high fantasy audio.
Yeah.
The narrators were mostly good. I still don't love the choice for Khan's voice, and it didn't grow on me still. So just to me and what I envisioned, it's not gruff enough. And like I mentioned, though, Grimm's voice was great. Pyrock's voice is great. And it was a good time. Vea's voice is great. Rave's voice is great. My only criticism, though, as far as the Audible goes, is I feel like you have this 6 narrating cast. I would have liked to see the other narrators narrating their character when they came on page, instead of, oh no, and I'm brave and I'm so sad and I'm so angry and and that's what I am saying to you right now, Khan. Because it doesn't, the women didn't take me out when they were doing the male characters. They did a great job. But the men, I did not like their trying to do female character voices. It really took me out. So it was really, really hard to get into some of the scenes when it was dual conversations happening, but it was from Khan's point of view, so he's doing Rave's voice, and I was just like,
that doesn't even make sense to me. Why are you going to have a cast of 6 narrators without having a proper dual narration? Like, that doesn't really add up.
It didn't make sense. And they're talking like this.
Yeah.
You know? So
that would have pulled me out
too. Weird choice.
Yeah.
Even like Pyrox was okay for Essie's. Wasn't great, but Khan's for Raves, it just, or any female Seremes, like anybody that he was talking to, I'm just like, why are we doing this? It did kind of ruin it for me, and it brought it down in rating for sure. Something that could have easily been a 5-star had they had the characters on page saying their own lines, you know, because we see that a lot. It's not unusual.
It's not.
And I don't love dramatized, readings. That's not what this is. This is just a normal narration, but a lot of times we have the narrators doing their voices, so
that doesn't make sense. Why have so many narrators then? You should just have one narrator doing all the voices then.
Yeah,
that's weird.
It's just basically the point of views. If they have a different point of view, that's the narrator, and they'll do the entire chapter. So, hot take maybe, I don't know, but I don't know if any of us love that.
Yeah, I think everyone.
And I told Rave she needs to be, do this. Oh, but I don't want to do it right now, Khan. It's like, come on. It's that gif or that scene from one of those movies where it's like, she has two arms. She has no legs. She's a body.
Yeah.
He sounded like that. I'm sorry. Tell me I'm wrong. Did you listen to it? I'm not wrong. It's okay.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Like I said, I did this entire one. I did the reread of When the Moon Hatched, a lot of that on audio, and that was fine. But yeah, I didn't do this one on audio at all, so I had nothing to contribute to this conversation, but I don't know that would be my favorite.
Yeah. I think it stuck out more for this one because there is a lot more conversation in this book as opposed to the first one.
Yeah.
So maybe they're trying to have some continuity between the two, but there wasn't as much conversation in the first one, so it wasn't noticed as much.
Yeah.
So, bummer. What a bummer.
All right, so let's just share the Easter eggs that I found that I think will be coming up moving forward. I could just be being paranoid, but maybe not. I don't know. Okay, so on page 196, this is from Khan's perspective. When I learned the secrets sown through Ma's bloodline and found the rhythm of Boulder's heart, discovered that shaping is an art form. That very same phrase, I cracked into Boulder's stony soul and discovered a slew of words too powerful to behold, like grasping an ancient chest brimming with lyrical treasures that's weighed me down ever since. Nobody should have that sort of power. So, like, what kind of power does Khan have? Because we don't really know, right? Like, we don't know that he has more power necessarily outside of, like, you know, being able to wield the elements through the gods on a more honed level than a lot of people, right? But I think that it's more than that. Let's see here. She can't risk helping in her condition lest she give too much of herself at such a delicate time in her swelling. So he's talking about his aunt. But for most in our family, that's a hard tonic to swallow. Shaping slips through our blood like silt, as does our protective nature that's said to have been fed down from some ancient, mighty secret. If you guys want to check that out, that's on page 197. Okay, so then, let's see here. Oh, this one was interesting. First to 3 gets crowned with, he plucks a white wreath off a hook and waves it around, the red buds glinting like rough-hewn gems. This, Khan raises both brows, the irreplaceable family heirloom that's been passed down through generations for so long we have no knowledge of where it came from or even what it is.
Ooh.
That's on page 240. Yeah, so those were the 3 things that I think that will probably come up again. It's like, yeah, what is Khan's history? What's the bloodline? What is this thing that we don't, the family heirloom that we don't really know where it came from? It was never mentioned again or since, you know what I mean? It's just this once. So yeah, I think that's going to be a big thing in book 3 is we're going to find out that Khan's got some history.
Yeah, for sure.
Or some special powers or both that maybe he, isn't even aware of for some reason. So
yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any other things that you want to add as far as Easter eggs or things that stood out to you or bonus questions or anything? Or do you feel like we covered it?
I feel like we covered it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It
Sometimes I just got to sit back and stare off into the void.
Yeah, literally.
You know? This is one of those books that does that.
Well, my Smasher Pass is Moonfall related, and it was meant to be brutal and mean to you. So you ready?
Hit me with it.
Okay, so you are Rave, knowing all that you know now at the end of book 2, and you get to choose, moving into book 3, your dragon. Do you choose Slatra or Leary, and who do you send back up into the sky to be a moon?
Slatra.
You send Slatra back up into the sky, or you choose her?
I choose Slatra. It's her first. It's her first, and she did all that, and she loves her so much. Like, how am I gonna send her? Like, I like Leary. She saved her, and she's great, but sorry, we have a history. Slatra and I.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's hard.
What would you pick?
I would do the opposite.
Wow.
Because I feel like Slatra is old and ancient and wise and has, like, been through so much. And I think that Slatra's time has passed. And now it's Leary's turn, and they've made this, like, new kind of evolved bond together. And so I'm excited to see, like, how that plays out in book 3.
Yeah. But now if Illum is, like, inside Hayden, like, is she not going to be able to, you know, it's almost like, I want her to get released back with her daughter in the sky, but maybe she's not there right now. She's back on Earth again.
We'll have to see.
It's a tough one. That's a tough one. Okay, I have just a dragon related Smasher Pass.
Yeah.
Made it easy on you.
Okay.
Maleficent in her dragon form, Smasher Pass.
Oh, smash.
Right? It's a cool dragon. That's a cool, underrated dragon.
She was, like, one of my first dragons. I remember, like, being like, being mad at Prince Philip. Like, you know what I mean? Like, being like, dude, what? Like, are you being for real right now? Like, that sucks. Like, that was, like, one of my first introductions to, like, you know, rooting for the villain, I think, too. You know, the villain, quote unquote. But yeah, Maleficent. I don't necessarily love the, like, you know, Angelina Jolie version movies, but, like, I've always loved Maleficent just as, like, you know, part of the fairy tale lore as just a character and as a dragon. So smash.
I cannot, still to this day, I can't believe you don't like the live action Maleficent movies, just because like that's the story that we had in our brains. Like, come on, why would she like care about this birthday party and being invited to and friggin' cursing this little baby, 16 years old? Like, there has to be more. And so that filled in all the story that I wanted. I didn't watch the second one though. I did get bored and turned it off. But the first one,
it was fine. I didn't hate it. I just didn't love it either. I just thought it was just kind of fine.
Like, she's screaming for her wings.
Yeah,
it was brutal. Try it again. You're wrong.
I think the reason why it didn't resonate with me was because I want a live action remake of actually Sleeping Beauty.
Oh yeah, you do love that too.
Yeah,
so.
and it bothers me that now that's like, in my opinion, kind of like messed with the lore, like to be able to get that, which is what I truly want. So
yeah. I mean, they're freaking live actioning everything, even the newer movies, so they're probably gonna do it. Like, that's weird if not. It
is weird that they haven't. I really hope that they don't ruin it. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like, I love forever. Cinderella is one of the best movies ever, and I feel like it gets no credit as like the best live action Disney movie to date, and it was the first one that they ever did, and no one talks about it, and it makes me mad. And I'm like, see, I feel like we deserve a Sleeping Beauty of that caliber.
They've been trying and they've been failing because they made some bad decisions. That's what happened. So it's really frustrating. Yeah. I think that Disney, as much as we love it, because we go to Disneyland and everything, they have lost their artistic edge in the space, and they're being very lazy with the stuff that they're coming out with. Straight up. It's like, do we need a live action Lilo and Stitch? It was great. I cried. It was good. But do we need it? Nothing compelling changed. I cry in the animated Lilo and Stitch too, so you know?
Yeah.
It's like, there's all kinds of theories on that we can talk about another time, like what they're doing, why they're doing it. Because Cinderella was one of, I think, the top grossing live action that Disney has done. And a lot of that was kind of like what we liked from Maleficent. Well, what I liked from Maleficent is like expanding the story, but still staying, Maleficent didn't stay as true. But Cinderella stayed true to its core.
Yeah.
While expanding the world, while having incredible costuming and makeup. And I know that there were some choices made with the follow-up Beauty and the Beast that were just bad choices. Emma Watson being one of them, sorry. She wasn't the best singer. The Beast was terrifying in a bad way, you know? That's all like our first Beast crush. Come on, like, did you not pull... Like, the dress wasn't flattering on her. It wasn't like a good expansion, where Cinderella had the essence of her dress, but obviously it was just so much more. So
it was just, it took the fairy tale. I feel like now we're just talking about this, right? It's like, but this is the thing.
They get it.
Yeah. That's the thing with Cinderella. If you haven't watched the live action Cinderella, please watch it. If you love fairy tales, like, it's one of the best live action fairy tale movies ever, I think. And it's like, yeah, it's for all the reasons why you're saying. We still got the fairy tale. Like, we got Rob Stark as Prince Charming. Like, are you kidding me? Like, literally, it was like, we were able to have Prince Charming while still having Cinderella be like a very, very like fleshed out individual character. Yeah. Like, and I feel like that's, you know, what we want to see. Like, I know that's what we want to see, because that's why Romantasy is so popular. But yeah, so I liked Beauty and the Beast, but yeah, not as much as Cinderella. And then I felt like they just all kind of increasingly got worse from there.
Literally. I mean, and also I hated Gaston too.
I loved Gaston, so whatever. I'm good with that. He had
blonde eyebrows and the worst wig. It's just like, what are we doing with these wigs, Disney? You have the budget. What is happening?
Yeah.
And
that's how I feel about freaking House
Snow
of the
White
Dragon.
ended up being a train wreck. And like, for her dress was so literal that it took us out, because it doesn't translate. That's what they did great in Cinderella with the costuming and the makeup and everything, is it translated onto screen because they made the adjustments where they needed to. Whereas Snow White, they did such a literal look of the animated with the dress and everything.
It looks like they're just wearing costumes. It looks like they're wearing costumes.
It's too costumey. Yeah, exactly. It's literally too costumey, where Cinderella, they didn't look like they're wearing costumes. And that's a big difference.
Yeah. It just looks like you're of the time period that you're supposed to be in and the setting you're supposed to be in wearing the clothes. Like, it's, you know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it makes sense. But yeah. I don't hate Gaston as much as you did because I really like, what's his name? Luke Evans. But yeah, I wish that they could, like with Rapunzel, you know, like with Tangled, I'm like, God, it would be so great.
I know. I hope that they do a good job. I hope they do. The guy who's supposed to play Flynn Rider is one of my daughter's favorites. He is, and he's a good singer. He's in Zombies. So he's the main character in that. He's a little, I don't know, he's a little oafy in my opinion, but his character is. So I'll be curious to see if he can, you know, zhuzh it up for this Flynn Rider character, because I'm skeptical, but we'll see. The girls are going to love it. So, the youngins.
Yeah. Hey.
Do we know who's supposed to be Rapunzel yet?
I don't know.
No. All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see. We'll tell you guys all about it when it happens, obviously.
Yeah. All right.
Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this Ballad of Fallen Dragons deep dive. If you are, you know, needing to hear somebody talk about it, hopefully this was helpful for you. Our DMs are open if you have more that you want to talk about. If you're looking for a recap, we hope that this was helpful. If we're missing anything that you would like us to do on these recap episodes, please let us know as well. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe everywhere you like to listen to your favorite podcasts, including YouTube, Besties in the Books podcast everywhere, Instagram, and TikTok. And you guys, we will see you
next
Tuesday. Bye.